Hello everyone. Today we'll be continuing with our Power BI. Remember, the first one we did was we performed the data extraction, transform, and load. Okay, where we are, you use the Power Query editor. Now today we'll be looking at, in terms of 5 minutes, all about the DAX. Now DAX means data analysis expression. All right. So now we are going to use this now to perform some calculations. Now, if by default, if you open your Power BI, you are going to have this. So you're going to see what we did, what we called it, the global store we created. Or if you don't see this information, go to open and browse this device. So by the time you click on the browse the device, it's going to take you to the exact location where you want to get your file. But you can see mine is here because it's saying recent, because I have only used the global superstore. So I click on it, meaning I want to open it. I want to access it. So wait for Power BI to open. All right, so the Power BI is open now. Now, what we are going to do now is that, remember, we have the report view, the table view, the data, the model view, and the TX query view. All right, so now we are going to be using the table view, although we have what we call the DX, the data expression query view, whereby you write a statement to perform an action, but we'll not be using this. So we're going to be using the table view. Now, the table view shows us all the information. Remember, I told you that if you want to perform a calculation or anything, we always need to have a guide. Now, if you look at mine, I have my guide. If you notice, you see, this is my guide, which I am going to use. Now, to use this now, I want to perform some certain calculations, which is the total sales, total quantity, and total profits. Now, what we are going to do is that we're going to make use of two things. One is the column and the new measure. The columns, the new measures. All right. So now, if we want to get our total sales, now look at our information. You can see we have the profits, the quantity, and the profits. Okay. So now let's get the total sales. If we want to get the total sales, we are going to use measure. Why? Measure helps us to just get the single value. When we do columns, it means we want a distribution of values. Now, I'll click on the new measure. So hold on. Now, to get the total sales, by default, we're going to have measure is equal to. So I remove this and I pass in total sales. Okay, equals to, then I perform the calculation. Now, the DTX helps us bring out this certain calculation. An example now, I want to sum the total. So I say sum. You can see when I type sum, this information, what is responsible for this is the DAX. Okay, so by the time we do this now and I hit my tab, it's going to ask now, what column do I want to perform this sum operation? So I want the sales, so I look for the sales. You can see global store sales. I click on it and I close my bracket. Now, when I hit enter, you see you are not going to see any information. You're just going to hold on. You can see working on it. Now, by the time you do that calculation, you are not going to see it on our table. Now, if you go to your right under the global store, you will see it here. So you can see we have performed that calculation. The same thing again, if you want to now perform for, we want to get in terms of the discount. Okay, and so sorry, not the discount, the quantity. I want to get the total quantity. Now I go back to table tools, click on new measures. Now it's going to refresh. You can see that the previous one we did is not going to clean up. Okay, so by default again, measure is equals to the cost value. We remove the measure. Then we are going to write. We are going to say the total quantity is equal to the sum again. Remember, sum. Then we are going to pass in the total quantity. You can see. So meaning that we can call a particular function and we just pass in a column of that table. That's how we perform calculation here in Power BI. Okay. So remember, close the information and I hit enter. Remember, I told you, as long as we're using measures, you will not see the values on the table. Rather, if you look by your right, on your table view, where we have data, you will see your total quantity. Okay, total quantity. All right. Now, the other one again is that let's say we want to get the profit margin. All right, the profit margin. Now, if we want to get the profit margin, one value. So we click on again, we'll go back to table tools and click on new measures, new measures. Now, by default measure, I remove this, then I pass in the profit margin. Now, to get the profit margin now, we are going to divide the profit by the sales, okay? So to do this now, we are going to say the sum, okay, of the profit. Profit is not just one value, so sum all of them, okay, then divided by the sum of the sales. So you can see we have our sales and we close this information, sum of the profit and the sum of sales. Okay, so by the time we do this now and we hit enter, you can see now we have gotten the profit margin. All right, remember we're doing in terms of measures, so actually you are not going to see the value, but we perform a calculation. Now, where we are going to see these measures that we did, remember, we are still doing our project in our work, is when we go to our report view and perform the data visualization. So I believe at the end of this video, we are able to perform calculations using the DAX. So these informations, the sum, are embedded in DAX. Okay. Now, so that is all we have for today. And the next one we are going to be looking at in the next video is when we are going to perform our data visualization.